Jesus freak here. Now, it should be obvious I have trouble getting out, what I'm trying to say. And I'll admit that. So my last video was probably a bit clearer as mud, and the comments probably explain what's going on better than I did. Anyway, I had come to this conjecture. I don't know if it's true, but we do have some facts that we're working with, and I had extrapolated from those facts. For example, we know that Joni and Marcus Lamb were, Marcus was, Joni is, grifters. And that Joni Lamb has surrounded herself with grifters. Doug Weiss is a grifter. Jimmy Evans is a grifter. So, these things we know. I think that's a Razorneck. The fact that really quick after, that there was a connection between Joni Lamb and Doug Weiss, right after Marcus died, suggests to me that connection may have already existed. Meaning she was probably, committing adultery before Marcus passed away. As perhaps the same may have been true of Doug Weiss. Now, it looks to me, their daughter Rachel takes after Joni in pretty much every respect. Image conscious, grifter, big head. Not sure about their other daughter, Rebecca. Jonathan clearly didn't. See, he's a black sheep of the family. Kind of like me. I was black sheep in my family. My dad's black sheep of the family, too. So, he meets Susie Lamb, they get married. Yeah, they're connected with the DayStar ministry. But it seems pretty clear she's got some distance from it and she's a true believer rather than part of the grift. And I suppose that Susie Lamb was keeping her husband on the straight and narrow. I think of that one verse, I think it's in one of Paul's epistles, I can't remember which one. It says, how do you know, husband, that you won't convert your wife? Or how do you know, wife, that you won't convert your husband? So, I believe that Susie Lamb had a positive effect on Jonathan. Now, they're being shamed and vilified because they won't kiss up to the matriarch, who is a narcissist. Remember, I'm just opining here. I can't diagnose anything. She acts like your typical narcissist. And she bringing in the flying monkeys. That's another tactic of narcissists. Bringing in flying monkeys like Jimmy Evans, Arnold Torres. What was that other guy's name? Tom Callender. He brought in the flying monkeys. Marcus Rogers, I think, she turned into one of her flying monkeys. And had them go on the attack. So this one lady's got a TV show on their Canadian branch, Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson, and she says, I can't do this anymore. I can't support what you're doing to your kids. Especially considering that there was a molestation cover-up. Involving Jonathan and Susie's daughter, who has been and will remain unnamed for her protection. We've been referring to her as Baby Lamb. Pretty suitable name, I'd say, but she's a victim here. And she quit the network and started, revealing things. Now, I got issues with her because she's still connected with a lot of New Apostolic Reformation, quote-unquote pastors, quote-unquote prophets, quote-unquote apostles. And I think she needs the influence of someone like the Unction, who she's been, fairly close to. I think that's going to be very helpful in getting her away from those charismatic beliefs and into real Christianity, which, a lot of people in charismatic Christianity seem to want to believe that they're too caught up in the whole signs and wonders thing. We're a faith of faith. You don't need signs and wonders to believe.
Wait.
So she comes out, starts bringing things out about what was going on. A number of other people join up and start opining, either from experience or based on what they've seen from the outside looking in. And Joni Lamb winds up sicking her flying monkeys on them too. So you got C&Ds flying around. I believe Steve Kozar mentioned Brother John Elving getting a C&D from DayStar and then just eating it on camera. Steve Kozar, Messed Up Church, good channel. Should probably watch it. And one of Joni's flying monkeys, I think his name was Steve Wiltshire or Steve something, but he called Laurel Lynn Tyler Thompson a clickbait cockroach. And some of us, we started being like, you know what? Let's be clickbait cockroaches together. I almost had a t-shirt made up saying clickbait cockroach. I didn't do it, but I'm still tempted. So, you know, that's a situation from where I'm seeing it right now. Now, keep in mind, you know, I'm an outsider looking in. I don't come from a Pentecostal, let alone a charismatic tradition. I come from United Methodist tradition, which is, you know, very middle of the road. But, you know, you can see that I place significant emphasis on the authority of the Bible and such, to the point, not necessarily so for a lot of mainline Christians like myself. So I kind of fall on a fault line here. And I'm speaking from my own perspective here. I figured I should give my perspective on these things. So it's like, you know, why should it matter to someone like me who's, you know, so far removed from all this? Because what matters to me is the truth. And what matters to me is justice. You know, what's that, you know, let justice flow like a stream and righteousness like a mighty river or something like that. And I don't want to see people hurt. Now, I'm watching the signals. The crux of all this, there's a lot of bad teaching going around disguised as Christianity, and there's a lot of people who don't know any better. I mean, I just originally started here. I was, you know, just talking about personal whatever the heck I felt like. And most of the time I still do. But if I feel I got to take a stand, I'm going to take a stand. Jesus, freak out.